Me and my husband got pregnant on our first try with our first son. His name is Duke, or at least that's what we call him. That's his nickname. And good morning, how was your nap? And today I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how we got pregnant on our first try and everything that we did, in hopes that this information will be helpful for you guys too. He is 5 months old today. He is a big stinker, absolutely amazing, and I'm just so blessed and grateful to have you. We got pregnant on our very first try. It was a very crazy, interesting, very godly experience, and if you guys are interested in hearing like how I found out I was pregnant, which again, like the Lord had his hands on this entire experience, I'd be more than happy to share that because I do think it's really crazy. Today I'm going to be sharing what it is that me and my husband did on our trying to conceive journey and how we got pregnant on our very first try. I do know that trying to conceive can be a really sensitive topic and it can be a lot harder for others, so we are very grateful and blessed that we did get pregnant on our first try. We really do just give all the glory to God in that regard. Of course, there are other things that can come into play whenever it comes to your TTC journey. However, I wanted to make this video just in case something that I say could be helpful for you guys or could be a little bit of insight for you. So first and foremost, whenever I met my husband, he comes from a family of 5 and I come from a family, well, not a family of 5. He has 7 siblings. I have 3 siblings. I've always wanted to be a young mom. I've always wanted to be a mother ever since I was a little girl. And so immediately whenever we met, we knew that was something that we were both really interested in, and we were dating for marriage. We weren't just dating to date. And something that was really important for me, and this is kind of where I would really begin your TTC journey, is making sure that your husband is well aware of what the TTC journey is going to look like, what pregnancy is going to look like, and what postpartum is going to look like. I feel like a lot of men say that they want to have children and they want to have a family, but then whenever it actually comes to showing up in those regards, they kind of like take a step back and the woman fully leads in there, which is totally fine if that is what works for you and your dynamic. However, I thought it was really important that my husband, my boyfriend at the time, knew exactly what it was he was getting into before we really took this leap. So we had been together for 6 years before, 5 years before we got pregnant, and during that entire 5-year duration, I was showing him YouTube videos, I was showing him TikToks, Instagram reels, articles, blogs, literally anything I could about the good and the bad of pregnancy, the good and the bad of trying to conceive, and the good and the bad about postpartum, because the more well-rounded and more educated that he was, I felt like that would just make this entire journey a lot more smoother, and he could understand truly as best as he could what it would be that I would be going through. And after doing that, my husband actually grew to appreciate this entire journey, pregnancy, postpartum, trying to conceive, a lot more, and really see like the value in a more in-depth way that women go through and the things that we have to experience. So much so that, you know, whenever we first started dating and people would ask him like, oh, how many kids would you want? He'd say like, oh, I want 3 or 4. And then like as the years progressed, whenever people would ask him that, he would start to say like, oh, I want however many my wife is like willing to give, because he just like truly understood what goes into everything. So that would be like my first thing that you guys do, is really make sure that your husband is well aware 100% of what this means, what this is going to be for you specifically, and also what this means for him, and make sure this is something that he actually wants to invest his time and his energy and his spirit into. The next thing I would say is that if you are faithful or faith-based or a believer, to really put this in God's hands. My entire trying to conceive journey was extremely frustrating, which again, I can do a story of time if you want to hear about it. And the Lord was just constantly telling me like, not yet, you have to be patient, you have to be patient, all those sorts of things. And that can really be discouraging, but really just making sure that you are in your Bible, that you are praying as much as you can, that you're worshiping in whichever way you're worshiping, that you're connecting yourself with friends and family that can also like pray over you and speak goodness over you. I think that is super important, and that really changed my perspective of trying to conceive, and really kind of like helped me just really relax and be stress free and enjoy the moment regardless, instead of like constantly stressing about like, oh, I'm ovulating, oh, my period's coming, oh, like this tracker is not working. and all those sorts of things. So please just make sure, if you are a believer, to take the time to really pray on it, really put it in God's hands, really ask God to like guide you and help you prepare your spirit, your mind, your heart, and your husband's spirit and mind and heart to lead you towards this journey of trying to conceive, and just understand that things are going to happen in his perfect timing. It may be exactly whenever you want to, it may not be where you want to, it may look exactly how you want to, and it may not look exactly how you want to, but at the end of the day, if you really just trust him and you give everything to him, then it is going to work out exactly as it's supposed to. So the first thing that we did, or the first thing that my husband did, was completely cut out alcohol. My husband was a social drinker. Anytime we went out with friends, he would have a beer or two. If we were going out to dinner, things like that. And I stopped drinking alcohol whenever I was a freshman in college, so I literally never drank, but my husband did. And so we did a lot of research and found that alcohol can actually affect like sperm quality, and it can affect the possibility of like fertility being a little bit harder or being a little bit easier. And after a lot of discussion, we decided that it was just best for him to completely cut out alcohol from his diet altogether. And if he like wanted to go back to drinking alcohol after we conceived, then he was more than welcome to, but my husband was 100% down for not drinking any alcohol. We officially started our TTC journey in December of 2023, and in December of 2023 he stopped drinking alcohol altogether, and I do think that is something that really helped us. I do know a few family members and friends that have husbands that do drink, and once they did stop drinking, they were able to get pregnant too. So that is always something that a lot of people kind of overlook sometimes, but really just take into consideration that alcohol can affect overall fertility for women and for men. And really, if this is something that you're serious about, taking that time to reduce how much alcohol you are taking to absolutely none, until you guys are in that space where you guys get your big fat positive and your husband can start sipping on some beer or whatever the case is that he wants to drink, because ladies, you know, we're not able to drink those sorts of things. The next thing that we did was we actually took supplements, and these are the things that I swear by. I really think that if we hadn't taken these, and I just don't think our journey would have been what it is. So me and my husband decided that we were going to take Pirelli, which is a vitamin supplement brand that was specifically created by OBGYNs. And it is, if I believe, the first supplement brand that is only created by OBGYNs as well. So that is something that really intrigued me. And going on their website and looking at all the reviews, they have very high reviews. And for men and women, they both have two supplements. So women have a supplement called Trying to Conceive, and then men have their own multi-daily vitamins that they also recommend for men to take if you are trying to conceive with your spouse or your partner. And I swear by these. If you go on to the reviews specifically for the Trying to Conceive supplements, you will see, I think it's like 4.9 or 5 stars of people saying that they got pregnant on their first try. And I thought this like could not be true. Like, this had to be propaganda. It's actually insane that there are so many people saying that they got pregnant on their first try after taking these pills. And so I thought that was absolutely insane, and I wanted to try it out. So I went ahead and I bought the subscription. I think it's about like $26 or $27 a month. And we took them. So we actually took these supplements 6 months before we were going to start trying. So we said that we wanted to start trying in April of 2024. So 6 months prior to that is whenever we started trying and taking those supplements, so that they could go ahead and like already be within our bodies and like really start the trajectory of changing how things were internally. I will say, outside of these pills helping with trying to conceive, they also really helped with my period as well. My periods were not as painful, and my periods also were not as heavy whenever I was taking these supplements. And I also found myself to be a lot more relaxed and a lot more chill versus like my anxiety and just feeling a little bit high strung throughout the week all the time. So I will go ahead and link that brand down below. This is not sponsored, by the way. However, if you guys want to sponsor me, please do. But I will link them down below, and then also link the direct links to the exact supplements that we took. Something else that I did that kind of goes to my first point of making sure that your husband is super involved is I had my husband involved in my ovulation and my period tracking. So my husband has the Flow app on his phone, and he has had that on his phone. I don't know if you can hear my son crying. He's had that on his phone since we started dating, so that was already fine. In our kitchen, we have a whiteboard calendar, and every month we like put everything that's happening on that month. while we were trying to conceive, I would also put the days that I was ovulating and the days that my period was coming, because I wanted my husband to be involved. I feel like a lot of times whenever it comes to people's TTC journeys, it's kind of like all on the woman. It's on the woman to cycle track. It's on the woman to take the supplements. It's on the woman to lose weight. It's on the woman to go to the doctor's appointments. It's on the woman to schedule sexy time, all those sorts of things. And I just was not about to do that, because I'm already going to be doing so much whenever I get pregnant, and this is a partnership. My husband chose that he also wanted to be able to have children too, so his involvement was just as important. And so whenever it came to our calendar and having my ovulation and my period days on there, he knew exactly when I was going to be ovulating, so it didn't always have to be like me initiating anything. He was also a part of it, and then he also understood when my period was going to come too. So I definitely would suggest like getting your husband involved, making it like fun for him too, and not just putting all the weight on you, because that can be very stressful and overwhelming. And one thing that they're going to tell you, I assume, if you like are going to an OB or midwife or something, is really to reduce your stress levels, because stress can also affect fertility. And I found within our dynamic and within like our partnership that having us both participate as equally as we could was going to reduce the stress level for both of us, but significantly for me. The next thing that happened was not intentional, but prior to trying to conceive, I was already trying to lose weight. I had gained a lot of weight over the course of like 3 years, and my BMI was considered to be overweight, and I just was not really happy with myself, so I was trying to lose weight. By the time I had gotten pregnant, I actually had been my smallest since I had started gaining weight, which was insane because then I ended up getting pregnant. But working out, I think, also really helped with that, and shedding a few pounds, I also believe, helped with it. I'm personally not like aware of like the statistics or anything about that, but I have heard that sometimes if you are overweight and you lose weight, that helps with fertility. I'm not 100% sure. It could be true, it could not be true, but I did find once I started losing weight and once I started changing my diet and eating a lot healthier and taking out like those negative foods, which was basically just me eating Chick-fil-A every day because that's like my stress food, I ended up getting pregnant. So if you are planning on trying to conceive, I would encourage you to exercise, mainly because whenever you are pregnant, it is really exhausting on your body physically. And I think if I hadn't been running as much as I had prior to getting pregnant, my stamina would have been crap whenever I was pregnant, but I still felt pretty strong and like able while I was pregnant. Of course, like my back hurt and things, but I've always had back issues since I got into a car accident whenever I had just gotten out of high school. There are a bunch of benefits to like lifting or increasing your stamina or doing cardio or HIIT in general, so incorporating those things prior to getting pregnant, I think not only like can help you shed weight if you need to shed weight, but also it can really like put you in your best like physical shape so that your body can handle more while you're pregnant. That then goes on to my next point of clean eating. I am a former eating disorder connoisseur, so literally I've had almost every eating disorder in the freaking book. And I am not a type of person that can go on a diet. I hate diets. Diets will send me straight into an eating disorder. Counting calories will send me straight into an eating disorder. So what I really focused on was just clean eating. I just tried to increase my vegetable intake. I tried to increase my protein intake. I did not try to cut carbs because I love carbs. Give me bread, give me rice, give me pasta. Literally, I'm obsessed with it. But if I knew that I was like going to be having Wingstop, and their french fries are so freaking good, but I knew I was going to be having Wingstop, then maybe I'll have like a salad that day and I'll have some fruit. Or like just making sure that I wasn't restricting myself, because one, that was going to stress me out, which I can't be stressed out. Well, I can, but like it's not the best. And two, making sure that I was just like putting as much clean foods into my body as I could, because what you put in is what you see outwardly. And I did notice that my skin cleared up. I did notice that I had higher energy. I did feel a lot better about myself. So clean eating was something that I did prior to getting pregnant. I also want to say about my last point in regards to working out. My husband also has been working out every day since we met. He is like in the gym as much as he can be because he just loves it so much. And I do think that is a consideration. I believe, if I'm correct, there is a study that's coming out that's showing that the partners, and by partner I mean the husbands or the males, physical physical capabilities and physical health is what leads to a woman's placenta and the health of the placenta. I believe that's true because I had no issues during my pregnancy except for my heart, and I have pre-existing heart conditions. And I know your placenta can be a cause of a lot of like pregnancy issues, so take that into consideration, read articles about it. I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure I read something about that. On top of clean eating, something that we incorporated in our diet was Brazilian nuts. If I remember correctly, Brazilian nuts are a perfect natural fertility supplement because of their selenium. After reading all that, I think I literally went to Whole Foods or Wegmans or something like that, and I got a big bag of Brazilian nuts, and I had 2 a day, and my husband ate 2 a day, and we ate all of that until I got my big fat positive. The next thing that we did was get checked by the doctor. I really recommend doing this prior. I know a lot of people say like, oh no, don't get it done until after you've tried for a year. The way that my brain works is I'd rather just know now so I can fix the things if there is something to fix versus trying for a whole year and being frustrated and disappointed and then having to fix all these things. Again, that's just me. So what we did was we scheduled appointments with our fertility doctors. We have Kaiser, so if you have Kaiser, they actually do have fertility individuals that you can go see. And we scheduled those appointments. We all did some blood work and some other things, and we got our test results back, and everything came back really positive and really great. So we already knew from the jump that our test results were good, and so that kind of gave us like an emphasis of the fact that like, one, we didn't have to do anything, fortunately, and two, like we needed to maintain what we were doing so that we can keep the quality of like our eggs and his sperm and all those sorts of things. I will say whenever I went to go get that done, the doctor that I saw kind of shamed me for going first, but even though I hadn't been trying at all. And whenever my husband went, they didn't like have any sort of conversations with him. They were just like, oh yeah, sure, let's go ahead and do this. So expect for some pushback whenever you are trying to speak to a fertility doctor, and for them to be like, oh, well, maybe you should wait for a year. You don't have to do that. You're paying them, you have your insurance, and they should just take you. And if they won't take you, then find someone new. I did have to have a pre-screening call where they did try to discourage me from going to the appointment and even having the evaluation. And I just was like, no, I want to have the evaluation because I just want to be prepared just in case there's something I can do now before me and my husband start to try. And she was basically just like, okay, well, it's not going to show us anything. And I was like, well, you don't know that. I want to try anyway. So we did everything, and they basically said I was fine. So if they give you some pushback, push back against them. The next thing that I would really recommend you guys to do is to decrease your stress as much as you can and really try to incorporate peace in your relationship and in yourself as an individual. Trying to conceive can be extremely stressful for you as a person, for your partner, and for your entire marriage or relationship. So really incorporating ways to de-stress and relax and decompress is super important. One of the things that I did was I was working out a lot. I was also just like being super creative. I was crocheting, I was painting, I was going out to see friends. Me and my husband would like regularly schedule dates so that we could also spend some quality time together, because sometimes whenever you're trying to conceive, it can feel like business and it can feel very like formal and like, oh, we have to like do this right now because like I'm ovulating today, so like what are you doing at 6 p.m., which I personally was not like that, because if it's not spontaneous, I don't want it. So I know there are some couples that do that and they like schedule times. I could never, because that's just not how my brain works. But making sure that you guys are taking time as individuals and as a couple to de-stress, to spend time together, and to be really intentional is super important, because that's just going to build the love. It's going to build the connection. It's going to make you guys feel like you're actually partners rather than feeling like you're roommates, or rather feeling like y'all are two business partners trying to get through this journey. So really take the time to not only decompress and de-stress, but really take the time to connect with your partner and figure out like what it is that they're needing. They figure out what it is that you are needing, and then incorporating those things. And those are all my tips and tricks on everything that we did and what I believe allowed us to conceive on our very first try. Like I said, this journey can be very different for everyone, and we are very blessed that it really did only take us one try. Again, the biggest thing that I think outside of just being a believer and believing that God had his hands on this entire journey for us was the fact that we took those supplements. I don't know what it is. There was something inside those supplements, but I really think that they work. So like I said, I'm going to link that below. If you guys are interested in hearing about how I discovered I was pregnant, again, it is like the most God, Jesus did everything type of story ever, with like the weirdest coincidences and the weirdest things happening. It was insane. If you guys want to hear that, go ahead and comment that below, because I want to make the videos that you guys are interested in seeing. I also would love to do a Q&A too, so if you guys have any questions, then you can comment that below too, and I will hopefully post a Q&A video just to answer some of your guys' questions about trying to conceive or pregnancy in general. I also want to do a video on the things that I did that helped me survive my pregnancy, so like some products that I used or just like mindset stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like the video, share it with someone just in case they're also on this journey, and hit that subscribe button so that you can come and stop by my channel a little bit more often. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.